You're watching the Lakers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. I hope all of you are having a really good holiday week. Coming up on today's show, are the Lakers in on Jerami Grant? Could they make a trade for Ben Simmons? And are the Lakers right now bordering on having a disastrous season? Because right now, it ain't looking good. And that loss to the Phoenix Suns, the number one team in the Western Conference, kind of showed the Lakers are far away from being contenders in the West, at least as of right now. So we start off with Jerami Grant. According to Mark Stein, there is a rising belief that Grant could be traded before the NBA trade deadline. And the Lakers do figure to be interested in a really good two-way player. Good news for Los Angeles, he's somewhat affordable. Now, they would have to get rid of some players in order to clear some cap space to absorb his contract, but he's under contract this year and he's under contract next year for a pretty affordable price of a little less than $21 million. Now, he wouldn't be able to help the Lakers in the immediacy of the moment. Why is that? Suffered a really brutal thumb injury that has him out for a couple of weeks. Now, he suffered that injury a couple weeks ago. At the time, the expectation was that Jerami Grant was going to be out for around 6 weeks. But when he does return, he figures to be one of the best trade chips across the NBA as we near the NBA trade deadline, which is really approaching quickly on February 10th. And of course, we have you covered on our main Chat Sports YouTube channel, as well as the Lakers Report. Now, where do these reports come from? Of course, the one from Mark Stein, but also Shams Charania of The Athletic, him and Woj, two of the most plugged-in NBA reporters, said that the Lakers are in on Jerami Grant, which I think is really interesting because I'm not sure where he fits in with Los Angeles. I'm not sure how he moves the needle or how much he moves the needle. I do know he would have a two-way impact on this Lakers roster. Shams on Jerami Grant. Jerami Grant is one of the most sought-after players in a potential trade with the Lakers and Trailblazers among the teams pursuing the Pistons' versatile forward, sources said. Dozens of teams have called the Detroit front office about Grant each week, and sources said the team is open to a possible deal. A big reason why they're up to a deal and why they're open to a deal, the rising play of Cade Cunningham, who's really been playing good basketball the last several weeks of the year. Jerami Grant has really played good basketball this year and last year. It's crazy how far this guy has come since he was drafted out of Syracuse by the Philadelphia 76ers and Sam Hinkie. This year, his numbers, 20 points per game, shooting around 41.5% from the floor, 33% from distance, and he's attempting about 16 field goal attempts per night. Now, when you play alongside LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, and a healthy Anthony Davis, there is no chance in the world that Jerami Grant would be asked to chuck up around 16 shots per night. But a versatile guy who can guard multiple positions, he can stretch the floor, play a little bit of a small ball 4 or small ball 5, and give you that positional versatility. In terms of where he would stand with the Lakers, I like Jerami Grant. I like that he's been in the lab improving his offensive game. I like how he's made strides defensively as a very good athlete. But how much does he move the needle for the Los Angeles Lakers? When I watch this team right now, I'm just not sure how good they are. And I think they're getting close to this season potentially being a lost year because this roster is so clunky. This roster is not good defensively as they continue to get gashed on that end of the floor. And last night, as we record this on Wednesday, it was a good litmus test to see where this basketball team is right now, going up against the number one seeded Phoenix Suns, the number one team across the NBA in terms of record, and the Lakers got blown out. Yes, LeBron James played very well, but this Lakers team as a whole, they got dominated. And that's not a good sign if you have to go up against the Phoenix Suns in a 7-game series. Because if that series were to happen today, I think the Lakers would be out in 5 or 6 games. Also, people are starting to throw some haymakers towards Los Angeles, and namely LeBron James. NBA on TNT, Kenny Smith ripped into LeBron because prior to that loss against the Suns, he walked into the arena with a cigar. Kind of a weird flex. You're smoking cigars during the year. Are you Michael Jordan? No. Are you close? Yes. But Kenny Smith throwing the uppercut toward the king and not shying away from taking any punches. Quote, that guy is walking into the arena with a cigar. Yo, that is disrespectful. Then they lose that game and he came in with a cigar. I ain't a fighter, but I'll fight everybody in that locker room. And this has kind of been the common consensus among a lot of people. The Lakers are front runners. The Lakers have a bunch of these big names, but it hasn't translated to wins. And until it translates into wins consistently, should LeBron be coming into the arena all swagged out with a cigar? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. LeBron, you got to prove yourself first. And the record shows this Lakers team, they ain't it, at least right now. So what do you think about Jerami Grant's game? And where would you grade him as a player right now? Hop on board, join the show, sound off, and if you want to rip me for criticizing the Lakers and LeBron, you can do that too. But at the very least, grade Jerami Grant A, B, C, D, or F in the comment section. Now, Christmas is only in a few days, so if you didn't get your holiday shopping done, you're kind of screwed in that regard, and I don't really blame you. I procrastinate too, no question about that. But if you want to get something and just blame it on shipping being delayed, you can do that and get this fresh Lakers hoodie, which is available in this black color as well as purple if you go to chatsports.com/LAL hoodie. Now, it's a Nike hoodie, same one that the players wear, phenomenal material, and it's available right now on sale for $70. Been marked down just a bit, so you can get this Lakers hoodie. It's not going to get shipped to you in time for Christmas, but right after Christmas, just use that link down below. It'll be available in the comment section as well as the description of this video. As for Ben Simmons, let's talk about him again, because this report from Shams came out a couple weeks ago, and we've talked about Ben Simmons here on the Lakers Report. But the reason we're continuing to talk about roster upgrades is because, well, frankly, the Lakers do need some roster upgrades. And the Lakers have made some calls to the Philadelphia 76ers about one Ben Simmons. So too have a couple of other teams. New York Knicks, Lakers, Minnesota Timberwolves, Portland Trailblazers, Kings, Pacers, and Cavs, all teams who have shown some interest in Ben Simmons. But it's unclear how much traction some of these trade talks have kind of made over the last several weeks, and this Ben Simmons saga continues in the city of brotherly love, which he would probably not call the city of brotherly love. Here's the predicament for Los Angeles. If they want to trade for Ben Simmons, who I still think is a superstar, or if they want to make a trade for any other marquee players out there, they do not have a lot of trade chips. And let's focus in on Ben Simmons here. His contract, really high. So you'd have to match that contract in order to bring him in. And the only contracts that match up, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook. You're not trading the first two, maybe you trade the latter, but here's the problem. Philadelphia 76ers, according to reports, not interested in Russell Westbrook, and I don't think that on-court fit next to Joel Embiid would work out. In fact, I think it would be a straight-up disaster. Jake Fisher, Bleacher Report, saying this about the Lakers and Ben Simmons. The only outgoing call I confirmed from the Lakers was to Philadelphia for Ben Simmons. When I got the information that they called about Ben, the conversation pretty much was, hey, Sixers, Daryl Morey, we're interested in Ben. How would we get there? The obvious solution is Russell Westbrook, but he is not a player that the Sixers have on their list for Ben Simmons trade targets. You take a look at both of these contracts for both of these players. Ben Simmons under club control next couple of years, and that's a positive because you'd have him under team control, and he's still somewhat young. Crazy to believe because he's been in the league for a little while. $33 million this year, $35.5 the following. Then that goes up to 37.8, 40.3. Then he becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2025, still at the ripe age of 29. As for Russell Westbrook, under contract this year and next year. And that contract pretty similar to Ben Simmons, and this is why a trade could work out. And it'd have to be about a player-for-player swap. Maybe you throw in another cheap contract in there as well if you're the Philadelphia 76ers or you're the Los Angeles Lakers. For those salary cap nerds who are like, Chase, it would never work. Salary cap gymnastics, man. They're a thing and they always happen. $42.2 million this year for Russ, $47 next year, and man, 34 years old, unrestricted free agent in 2023. Not sure how he ages, and I'm not sure how the game translates as he gets a little bit older. That's why a lot of teams not sure if they do want to pull the trigger on a Russell Westbrook trade. Now, if a trade were to happen between the Sixers and the Lakers with Ben Simmons and Russell Westbrook, I just don't think that Daryl Morey should be invested. I don't think he should be intrigued. We have seen who Russell Westbrook is this year. A completely maddening player who you really can't rely on a night in, night out basis to be a consistent producer, and he makes some really stupid plays, especially at the end of the game. Now, that pass that he made to Austin Reeves in Dallas for that game-winning three was a great basketball play. Unfortunately, though, Russ doesn't make enough of those plays that translates to winning. And that's always been my problem with Russell Westbrook. Phenomenal athlete, breathtaking specimen, but not a winning player, and his style of play is reckless, and it's not conducive to making deep playoff runs. And that's why Russell Westbrook led teams, or when he is a 1A or a 1B to a co-superstar, they don't have a lot of playoff success. So I say all of that, and I want to ask you this, Laker Nation. Pick one to have on the Lakers if you were Rob Pelinka or General Manager LeBron James. Type RW for Russell Westbrook. Type BS for Ben Simmons. Get your votes in the comments section. And thanks for watching the Lakers Report.